Hi, this is Mark Canty with Release Dynamics. We're here today with Jamie Scultetti of Upscale Your Business and Ashli Komaryk of Komaryk Communications, who specializes in helping wineries, and in particular helping wineries in terms of building cohesive teams together, improving on communications, and most importantly, really advancing new techniques, new ideas in the wine tasting room, and how to help staff and owners go beyond the wine, as Ashley says, go beyond the wine, so that you're not just somebody, you're not a purveyor or somebody that's peddling bottles of wine, but that you're going beyond the wine and you're building relationships and creating customers that become raving fans. And those of us who drink wines, of course, can testify that we are raving fans of certain brands and certain wines. So we were brainstorming and we thought we'd capture this because Ashley wants to post this up for BC winery owners and other winery owners for that matter, so that maybe they could get some ideas from this. So watch for this, or if you're watching this, you're probably seeing it on her Facebook, or you might be seeing it on our YouTube channel or wherever. And we just wanted to capture some of the great ideas that we were coming up with. So the topic that we were covering today, that we were discussing, that Ashley brought up, was this idea of, hey, right now in this kind of crazy time, everybody's pivoting and shifting. What can, we asked Ashley, what can a BC winery, or any winery for that matter, do when their tasting room, their physical tasting room, is closed? And we kind of started to have a rap about this. We had to start to have some fun, and I pitched in some ideas, and Jamie pitched in, and Ashley obviously. So we paused and thought, well, let's record this so that other people can benefit from some of this. So one of the ideas that I was sharing, those of you who are familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, grew up in the wine business. A Russian immigrant family. His dad had a wine shop in, I think it was Brooklyn. It was in New York. And Gary was probably the first person to do wine blogging, or vlogging, we should say, with a V. In other words, online, doing videos. And he was doing wine tastings. And he grew, I believe my understanding is it was the largest online retailer of wine. And because he was just a pioneer in this space. So the idea that I brought to the table was, if I were a winery, I would immediately pivot and turn my wine tasting room into a virtual tasting room. And this would be a great opportunity, particularly here. Now, I'm not sure, we're in Canada right now, we're talking to Canadian wineries probably, but I'm sure this would adapt for anybody. We have incentives right now coming from the government to keep people employed, to subsidize wages and such. So this would be a great opportunity to keep, and I'm going to give a little plug here for, I'm going to share a screen with you because I think this might bring it to life a little more. A little plug here for Serendipity Winery. Ashley, you'll have to send them a link to this because we're giving
Yes, definitely.
So here are the gals at Serendipity, and don't they look like they're having fun? How could we duplicate that virtually? Well, we could put I don't know their names, but we could put these gals online behind the counter, put a little camera in front of them. It could be an iPhone for that matter. It doesn't have to be fancy, technology here. You could have this up and running this afternoon if you wanted to. And those gals could present the latest wines from Serendipity, and they could do a little tasting, and they could describe what they were tasting, and they could encourage people by saying, if you like this particular grape, if you're a red or a white, and are you a sweet or are you a dry, and now I'm showing how little I know about wine. But they could really have some fun with this and do a live wine tasting room, be on there every day and have some fun trying different ones, maybe doing some pairings with foods, and really exploring the world of wine. And obviously your wine tasting room would have a shop now button or a buy now button, and people could have the opportunity to actually order the wine that the girls are so enthusiastically talking about. So there's an idea that I bounced out there for keeping your wine tasting room staff employed, continuing to get the word out about your fine wines so that you can get them out in the marketplace, and transitioning and pivoting and getting into the virtual space. Because believe me, you start something like that, you'll never want to stop. You could conceivably double your business, because you could have once your wine tasting physical one opens, you'd still have your virtual one open. You'd have 2 wine tasting rooms going for you. So powerful concept. Over to you, ladies, for your ideas.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. I mean, I think that's a fantastic idea. And now we are being, we're not invited to pivot. We must pivot if we're going to survive and stay vital and in contact with our customers, with our friends even too. And, in this era of now the virtual happy hour, people connecting on virtual platforms to socialize, people do join each other online for a glass of wine. I think it's a brilliant idea to do an online tasting. And, Jamie was mentioning the idea of shipping wine and then tasting it together. And I know that there are a couple of wineries that are doing that, because if you think about it, well, how can I do a wine tasting if I'm sitting here in my house and I don't have the wine? Well, some wineries have thought of that and they've sent it out to you. Order it and you plan for that tasting on that day. So it's a fantastic idea, because then it's just like being on the other side of the tasting room counter. So I think that's a brilliant idea for wineries. Any winery can do it. You can also do the virtual tasting and describe the wine, which will give your customers an idea of, well, first of all, it's gives a bit more of a deeper experience of your brand. It gives your customers an idea of the personality of your company. What are your values? What matters to you? What do you want to communicate? And you're also telling them about your wines. You're describing the wines, what goes with those wines, what foods. We have these quarantine kits. Yeah. And that was Jamie's idea about
Jamie,
the,
share that quarantine
yeah,
kit that you guys have
yeah.
locally there. Jamie's in Florida, by the way, and she was
I'm in
telling us about
Florida.
the
Yep.
quarantine kit.
So there's some local restaurants in my area that are doing these quarantine kits, and they're partnering up with, well, I wouldn't say with the winery necessarily, but what they're doing is putting together a kit of a meal. So you come and you just drive through and they'll put it in your car. And so it's like, 2 slabs of beef and a couple of, chicken breasts and a couple of bottles of wine and a few apples as dessert and some toilet paper of all things. But they're calling it a quarantine kit. And my local restaurant did it, and I actually gave them a plug on Facebook. I said, great marketing and a very tempting offer. Yeah. And I was thinking as you were speaking, Ashli, just to take the idea a little bit further of and you were mentioning it, so I'm just going to piggyback on what you were saying about, kind of pre-selling your wine, having people have that ready and they're looking forward to it, but giving them some ideas of what kinds of foods. And you could either have like a virtual happy hour, or you could even have a little dinner party. So maybe you're having a virtual dinner and some people are eating meat, some people are eating chicken, some people are eating fish. And you're talking about which wines go with that. And so maybe you put together a kit of maybe 3 different bottles of wine, and maybe one week you do a Merlot and the next week you do a Chardonnay. And, what do I know about wine? I'm not a drinker, but you get the point. And maybe you say to them, a pairing, what is a pairing where you pull together like some cheese or some particular foods that you would recommend, and people can talk about what their experience is of eating and drinking that particular wine. And so it's a pre-sale, and then it's a follow-up of, hey, we really love that. We'd like to order a case. So
I love that idea. And you could even do, to piggyback on that, to expand upon that further, on your website, what you could do is, okay, we're going to do virtual happy hour on Friday at 5 o'clock. And we got 3 different recipes here. There's a beef, there's a chicken, there's a fish, or there's a vegetarian.
We're going to need
here are the 3 different wines we recommend to go with it. And we're going to do this pairing. So you guys everybody prepare their meals, and we're going to prepare it too, right? So these gals at the winery desk, or the owner says, well, this is what I chose today. I do beef Wellington.
Recipe demo. What about a cooking class?
Yeah.
Recipe demo.
Cooking with wine.
Yeah.
And so you think about how this could be endless in terms of the idea of taking your winery and putting it online and becoming this interactive space that people are going to come back to. Well, if you're doing that, if you're sharing these amazing recipes, and the wines really taste good and they're matching and they're pairing, guess what those people are going to want to do? Yeah, they're going to want a case of that wine. I mean, we all have our
Yeah.
favorite wines. We go back again and again and we buy the same wine. Well, this is a way to create that raving fan, to become a raving fan of your brand, because you're going, here you go, Ashley, here's your plug. You're going beyond the wine, right? You're not just a peddler of wine. Now you're going beyond the
100%.
wine. You're building a relationship around that wine. So
You're
great
also going
idea.
beyond your local market, because you're able to talk to people that maybe, in the near future, hopefully will be traveling again, and they're going to want to come and see you. And even if not, you can still ship them wine. You can ship to different countries. And so, it's a tremendous marketing opportunity, both in terms of the brand, the product itself, and also awareness, brand awareness, awareness of your winery, and it's also giving your staff work that they can continue doing, and keeping the wineries going, keeping the wineries actively selling. And in terms of investment, it's the time that you put in, because you can do it even with your phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna wrap up this video right now.
One more idea, Mark. One more idea, if I may.
One more idea, and then we're gonna wrap. Okay, because I think we got 3 more minutes, and it'll be 15 minutes. So we want everybody who's watching this to know that we're not gonna hang on here for hours, but you can watch for the next one, because Ashley's gonna do another one. But go ahead, Jamie.
So you have this happy hour, because I know one of my favorite rock stars is doing this virtual happy hour every week. And so it's not just, you're not limiting yourself as a winery to just the people that you have like pre-sold wine to or whatever, but you are opening it up so people can watch your happy hour. So I just wanted to mention that. So you're growing your network, because my favorite rock star is doing this, and I'm not a part of the virtual happy hour. You have to be selected to be one of those people. But I'm enjoying watching it. And, so I just wanted to say that you can extend your brand that way as well. So
I love that. And, speaking of that, interesting, last time I went to the Okanagan, I really noticed how many wine brands have fans who are celebrities. So like there's one winery, and I can't remember, forgive me, you'll know who you are if you watch this. I'm going to kill the name. There's something in my head. It's like Ex Nihilo or something like that. Does that ring a bell, Ashley?
Yes.
And they're somehow, the Rolling Stones have gotten connected with their brand, because when we were in the winery, they had Rolling Stone stuff and everything that I don't know if they own part of the winery or what, but a lot of celebrities are involved in different wineries now. And so there you go. Great idea, Jamie. Can you imagine if you could call up, Mick Jagger and say, hey, Mick, would you be on our happy hour, for half an hour, and we'll send you a case of wine, and we'll talk about how you love our wine.
That's what made me think of it, because my favorite rock star from the 80s, Rick Springfield, right? So he's doing this virtual happy hour thing, and he partnered up with Sammy Hagar, who has a tequila brand. And now Rick Springfield bought into his brand, Sammy's, and they came together. He actually brought Sammy Hagar in as a surprise guest the other night, and they were promoting their new rum line together to a whole community of us.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Brilliant. Now, of course, you don't have to be a celebrity to do this.
No.
So what I want, no matter whether you're a small winery, a small business, or a large business, this idea, as a matter of fact, that's the beauty. I've always said the internet levels the playing field, where the smallest of small can compete with the biggest of the big. So if you're small, this is your opportunity to shine. You can become very big. You can become bigger than that massive winery next door. If you're a big winery and you're not taking advantage and leveraging the internet, you've got opportunities here too. So here's my challenge to you. If you're watching this video, somewhere around this video, you're going to see some contact information for Ashley. Get in touch with her. This is not a sales pitch. This is not a pay Ashley do anything. Get in touch with her, give her a call, and brainstorm with her. She is going to help you come up with some great ideas on how to leverage the internet, how to transition right now, and how to embrace digital technology and make it an engaging platform as opposed to a static one-way order here platform. And that, to me, is the future. So I want to challenge any winery owners that are watching this, any winery managers, wine tasting room managers, contact Ashley. She is a wealth of information and ideas and creativity in terms of just you know, making sure that you're on the leading edge and getting the most out of your winery, and also getting the most out of your most valuable asset, which is beyond the wine. It's your people. So talk to her about that. So I'm going to close on that point with that little plug for Ashli. And
Thank you,
thanks
Mark.
for joining us on this brief little brainstorming session here. I'm Mark Canty with Release Dynamics, Jamie Scultetti with Upscale Your Business, and Ashli Komaryk with Komaryk Communications. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
very much. Thank you both.